He won a ranch in a poker game. But it came with a girl who refused to leave. Cole's boots crunched against the dusty ground as he stepped into the small town of Red Mesa on the frontier world of Ardent Ridge. The twin suns hung low in the sky, casting a harsh orange glow over the wooden buildings and the strange metal windmills that rotated lazily in the distance. It was a quiet town, the kind where people watched newcomers with suspicion and strangers were rarely greeted with warmth. Cole adjusted his worn hat and walked with a steady pace toward the cantina. He carried little with him, a plasma revolver at his hip, a bag slung over his shoulder, and the weight of a long journey etched in the lines of his face. Inside the cantina, the air smelled of burnt fuel, fried protein packs, and old sweat. The place was noisy, filled with miners, traders, and a few off-world ranchers who had come for supplies. Smoke hovered in thin streams above the tables, caught in the warm light of hanging lamps. Cole approached the bar, nodded to the barkeep, and ordered a cup of hot water. He wasn't here for drinks. He was here to play. A poker game was already in motion near the back of the room. The table was surrounded by men and one alien trader with scaled skin and bright green eyes. Coins clinked as bets were placed. Cole slid into a vacant chair and the dealer gave him a quick appraising glance. The game was high stakes, not just in money but in pride. At first, Cole played cautiously. He was careful, reading faces, noting habits, and keeping his reactions small. Slowly, he began to win small pots, then larger ones. His opponents grew tense. When Garrick, an older ranch owner with a thick mustache and a crooked smile, pushed his chips forward with a reckless gleam, Cole realized the stakes had changed. Garrick's eyes gleamed as he placed a final bet, his ranch, his herd, and the rights to the land. Cole blinked. He hadn't expected that. The table went silent. Garrick's rivals exchanged nervous glances. Cole looked at the chips, then at Garrick. He could smell desperation on the man, the kind that came from debts, bad deals, and a lifetime spent trying to hold onto something slipping away. He decided to play the hand as if his life depended on it. Every card mattered. Every gesture told a story. When the final round ended, Cole's hand had held steady. Garrick's ranch, his herd, and his contract were now Cole's. The next morning, Cole rode to the ranch. The landscape was breathtaking. Endless red plains, strange herd creatures grazing in neat rows, and wind-powered fences that hummed softly with energy. The ranch looked like any other frontier property, but there was something different about it. Something alive. And then he saw her. Lyra stepped out from the main barn, her boots kicking up dust. She had fiery hair tied back in a loose braid and eyes that seemed to measure him with sharp intelligence. She was holding a tool in one hand, something Cole didn't recognize, glowing faintly with alien energy. "You're the new owner?" she asked, her voice calm but firm. "I am," Cole said, tipping his hat. "Cole." "I'm Lyra," she replied, "and I'm not leaving." Cole raised an eyebrow. "Excuse me? This ranch was my family's before it was taken," Lyra said, her gaze steady. "I take care of it. I've lived here for years. I'm not going anywhere, no matter what you won in a card game." Cole felt a flicker of surprise. He hadn't expected this. He hadn't expected anyone to be living here. "I don't want trouble," he said carefully. "I don't either," she replied, folding her arms, "but I protect what's mine." They studied each other, two strangers forced into the same space. Cole knew a fight would solve nothing. He also knew that leaving would betray the gamble he had won. Slowly, he dismounted and walked toward the barn. The first day was awkward. Cole tried to understand the ranch. Herd creatures stampeded at odd intervals, responding only to Lyra's commands. Fences buzzed with energy, activating and deactivating at her touch. Tools he thought were ordinary were actually small pieces of advanced technology that controlled gates, tracked the animals, and monitored the land. Lyra moved with confidence. Cole realized she knew the ranch intimately and that her skills were not just from living there. They were honed, precise, almost trained. He didn't ask where she had learned them. Some things he thought were better left unknown. By midday, Cole had managed a few tasks, feeding the creatures, repairing a fence panel, and checking water tanks. Lyra watched silently, occasionally offering instructions. He listened. Slowly, a rhythm formed, though tension lingered in the air. That night, the two sat near a fire outside the barn. Smoke drifted lazily toward the stars, and the suns dipped below the horizon, leaving the sky painted in deep purple and orange. "You always sit by fire?" Cole asked, breaking the quiet. Lyra shrugged. "It keeps the creatures calm, and it's safer than wandering the plains at night." Cole nodded. I've wandered a lot. Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever stop. Most people who wander don't, she said softly. You can't run from everything. Cole didn't respond. He didn't know if she meant the ranch, the dangers surrounding it, or his own past. He sipped from a cup of hot water, thinking about the poker game that brought him here. Fate, chance, or luck, it didn't matter. He was here now, and the ranch, along with the girl who refused to leave, was his responsibility. Days passed. Cole learned more about the ranch, the strange herd creatures, and the hovering drones that appeared on distant hills. Lyra warned him quietly one evening, her voice low. People in town are curious. Some are friendly. Some they're not. They've been watching the ranch for years. Corporations, collectors, anyone who thinks this land has value. Cole frowned. Value for what? Lyra didn't answer. She only tapped the glowing tool in her hand and glanced at the horizon. Cole knew it was a warning, though he didn't understand it fully. He also realized he trusted her more than he expected. She wasn't just a resident. She was a guardian. One morning, while checking fences, they found strange tracks near the edge of the property. Unlike any animal he had seen, they glowed faintly and the air around them hummed. Lyra knelt, tracing the pattern with her fingers. These are old, she whispered. Older than recorded history, the ranch wasn't just placed here by chance. Cole felt a chill run down his spine. What had he won in a card game? Just land? Or something much bigger? That evening, the tension between them eased slightly. Lyra shared small stories about her family, the creatures, and the technology that ran the ranch. Cole spoke little of himself, but he shared enough that she could see he wasn't here to exploit the land. By the time the second sun set, they had formed a fragile understanding. Cole knew that living on this ranch would not be simple. He also knew that leaving was no longer an option. This was his home, whether he fully understood it yet or not. And Lyra, for all her stubbornness, had begun to trust that the cowboy who won a ranch in a poker game might not be the enemy she expected. The first part of their story ended with the night quiet, except for the hum of the fences and the distant calls of herd creatures. Cole sat by the fire, looking at the stars above, thinking of the future. Somewhere under the plains, unknown and waiting, secrets of the ranch whispered to those who were willing to listen. Cole didn't know what lay ahead. But for the first time in a long while, he felt the weight of something worth protecting. And that, he realized, was worth every gamble he had ever taken. The morning air on Ardent Ridge was sharp, carrying the scent of dry grass and ozone from the humming fences. Cole woke before dawn, sliding on his boots and grabbing a worn satchel. Today was the day he would begin truly learning the ranch. Lyra was already outside, tending to the herd creatures with quiet precision. She moved swiftly, adjusting their biosignals and checking the energy fences that hummed faintly around the property. Cole approached, tipping his hat slightly. "Morning," he said. "Morning," she replied without looking up. "You'll need to feed the northern herd first." "They're restless." He nodded and walked toward the creatures. Unlike earth cattle, these beasts were tall, strong, and covered in short, bristly fur that glowed faintly in certain light. They moved with intelligence and wariness, recognizing Lyra instantly. Cole tried to calm them with soft words and steady movements, but one young beast charged playfully toward him, and he stumbled backward, cursing under his breath. Lyra laughed, a short, sharp sound. "Careful, they test new people. They know if you can't handle pressure." Cole straightened, brushing dust from his pants. "I can handle it, just not used to glowing bulls." Lyra shook her head. "You'll get used to them, or you won't last here long." The first week passed in routines. Cole repaired fences, fed the creatures, and learned the hidden ways of the land. Lyra continued to watch him, sometimes correcting his mistakes, sometimes silently observing. Despite her strictness, Cole noticed moments of vulnerability. She lingered over the older tools, sometimes whispering to herself in a language he didn't understand. She carried a small device in her satchel that she consulted constantly, scanning the land, measuring energy patterns, and adjusting the fences in ways he could barely comprehend. It was during one such routine inspection that trouble arrived. From the horizon, a group of sleek vehicles approached. They moved fast, the kind of machines built for speed and intimidation. Cole squinted. He could see the metallic glint of corporate markings. Lyra stiffened beside him. "They're here," she said quietly. "And they're not here for cattle feed." Cole felt a knot in his stomach. "Who are they?" "People who want what's beneath the land," she replied. "The ranch isn't just a farm, it's a guardian site, and they know it." Before Cole could respond, the vehicles stopped near the edge of the property. Men and women in corporate uniforms stepped out, their expressions polite but calculating. One stepped forward, holding a tablet. "Good morning," he said smoothly. "I'm Agent Karen representing Argus Corporation. We're here to discuss the ownership of this land. We understand it recently changed hands." Cole's hand went instinctively to his revolver. "It did. What do you want?" Karen smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "We're offering a generous buyout. No hard feelings, just a fair price for a valuable property." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "You're lying," she said firmly. "You don't want a fair price, you want what's buried beneath." The agent didn't reply. Instead, he waved toward the ranch and the faint, glowing markers embedded in the fences. "We only want to negotiate," he said. Cole studied him, noting the precision in his movements and the subtle signs of hidden weapons. These weren't simple corporate negotiators. They were trained, dangerous, and patient. "I don't sell," Cole said flatly. Karen's smile faltered. "Think carefully. This land is unusual. You could walk away rich and leave it behind, or you could stay and face consequences." Lyra stepped closer to Cole. "Ignore them. They can't take what belongs to the ranch unless we let them, and we won't." Cole nodded. "Then we show them we mean business." The first attack was subtle. That night, small drones buzzed around the northern herd, attempting to disrupt their patterns. The creatures panicked, rushing toward the fences and tripping the energy grids. Cole and Lyra worked together to calm the animals and disable the drones. Lyra's knowledge of the alien technology saved them from disaster. "I didn't know you could move like that," Cole said, watching her manipulate the control device with swift precision. She smirked. "You'll see more. This ranch has been protected for generations. I was trained to defend it." For the next few days, the tension escalated. The corporate agents tried to intimidate, using bribes, threats, and small sabotage attempts. Cole and Lyra responded with determination. Cole used his cowboy skills, tracking, timing, and quick thinking, to catch intruders and secure the land. Lyra's advanced knowledge of the alien systems made them nearly untouchable. Slowly, the two began to respect each other's abilities. One evening, after a particularly long day, they sat outside the barn again, sharing a simple meal. "You've been here a long time," Cole said, tossing a piece of dried meat toward a nearby creature. "Why stay, knowing the trouble would come?" Lyra stared into the fire. "Because this place matters. My family protected it for generations." "I can't let it fall into the wrong hands." Cole nodded slowly. "I know what it's like to lose something important, to have it taken." She glanced at him. "Did you?" "I lost my homestead years ago," he admitted. "Some men I trusted tricked me. I walked away with nothing." "I won't do that again." The conversation was quiet, but in it, trust began to form. Cole realized that Lyra's stubbornness wasn't defiance for its own sake. It was survival and loyalty to something greater than herself. The next morning, they discovered signs that someone had tried to dig near the old barn. The ground was disturbed, and faint glowing patterns marked the soil. Lyra knelt, tracing the lines with her fingers. "They're looking for the entrance," she whispered. "They know it exists." "We need to find it before they do," Cole frowned. "Entrance to what?" "To the structures beneath the ranch," she said, standing. "The original Guardians built it to protect something ancient. That's why Argus is here. They want the power beneath." Cole felt a chill. "Power." "Yes," Lyra said, her eyes serious. "And we are the only ones who can stop them from misusing it." From that moment, the ranch became more than land to defend. It was a secret to protect, a mystery to unravel. Cole and Lyra worked together to reinforce fences, hide the entrances, and keep watch through the long days and nights. Their bond grew stronger, not through words, but through shared purpose. One afternoon, as they checked the eastern boundary, Cole noticed movement in the hills. Figures slipped between rocks and dust, watching. He signaled Lyra. She nodded, reaching into her satchel and drawing a small device. She adjusted it, and suddenly the air around them shimmered faintly. The watchers froze, their devices momentarily disrupted. "They think they can outsmart us," Lyra said quietly. "They don't know what the ranch can do." Cole smiled faintly. "Then they'll learn." Days turned into weeks. The attacks were relentless but manageable. Cole's cowboy skills and Lyra's alien technology created a defense few could breach. They shared quiet moments, tending to the herd creatures, repairing fences, and exploring the land. The tension between them softened. Cole learned the land wasn't just alive, it was intelligent in a way. The herd responded to their bond, the fences adapted to threats, and Lyra's guidance unlocked secrets Cole had never imagined. One evening, as twin suns dipped below the horizon, they stood on a ridge overlooking the ranch. The air was still, and the plains stretched endlessly before them. "You stayed," Lyra said almost softly. Cole looked at her. "I stayed, not because I have to, but because I want to. This ranch and you, it's worth protecting." Lyra didn't reply immediately. Instead, she reached for his hand briefly, a small gesture of trust. In that moment, Cole realized that the ranch was no longer a gamble, and Lyra was no longer just a reluctant partner. They were allies, bound by duty, respect, and a shared commitment to protect something far greater than themselves. The night deepened, and the hum of the energy fences mingled with the distant calls of the herd creatures. Cole and Lyra stood together, ready for whatever came next, knowing the battles were just beginning. And beneath the barn, in shadows only they could reach, the ancient structures waited, silent, mysterious, and alive. The morning air was crisp, carrying the scent of dry earth and distant ozone. Cole rode along the eastern ridge, scanning the plains with keen eyes, while Lyra moved beside him on her own hoverbike, a strange device that hummed faintly with alien energy. The recent threats from Argus Corporation had not lessened. If anything, their presence had grown more aggressive. Drones circled in the distance, and the occasional scout appeared along the perimeter, testing defenses. Cole dismounted and gestured toward the barn. "It's time we see what's really under this place." Lyra nodded, her expression serious. "If Argus wants the power beneath, we need to understand it first. There's more here than land or herd creatures, and it's been waiting for someone who can protect it." Together, they approached the barn. Cole noticed the subtle glow in the ground, patterns similar to those he had seen before, but now they pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat. Lyra tapped her device against the soil, and a section of the floor slid aside, revealing a spiral staircase descending into darkness. "After you," Lyra said, gesturing. Cole took a deep breath. The smell of earth and old metal rose from below. The stairs were narrow but sturdy, constructed from both natural stone and unknown alloys. Light from their lanterns reflected off faintly glowing symbols etched into the walls. Cole's fingers brushed the carvings as he descended. They felt alive, humming with energy that resonated deep within his chest. At the bottom, the space opened into a vast chamber. Strange machines hummed softly, their purpose unclear. Tubes carried glowing liquid that pulsed rhythmically. Panels flickered with alien symbols, and holographic projections danced across the air, depicting landscapes and creatures he had never seen. Lyra stepped forward, her eyes scanning the room. This system was designed to maintain balance. The ranch above, it's a node, a guardian post. Without it, the plains and the creatures would collapse. Cole ran his hand over a console, and the holograms shifted, showing energy streams flowing across Ardent Ridge. "You mean the ranch protects the planet?" "In a way," Lyra said. "It regulates life here, herds, water, vegetation, even weather patterns. My family were the keepers, and now, for better or worse, we are too." Cole nodded slowly. The stakes were higher than he imagined. This wasn't just land or property. This was responsibility. He looked at Lyra. "And Argus, they don't want to maintain balance. They want to control it, use it for profit or power." Lyra's jaw tightened. "Exactly, and they're coming." Their first warning came not long after. A series of tremors shook the chamber, sending dust falling from the ceiling. Cole and Lyra exchanged glances. "They're close," Lyra said. "They've found another entrance. They think they can take the ranch from above and below." Cole's hand instinctively went to his revolver, though he knew this was no ordinary fight. "Then we stop them." The attack began at dusk. Drones swarmed from multiple directions, their weapons glowing red as they fired at the fences and herd creatures. Cole and Lyra worked in tandem, blending old and new tactics. Cole used his skills with timing and movement, luring the drones into traps and setting off energy nets. Lyra activated the alien machinery, sending pulses that temporarily disabled the intruders, sensors, and weapons. Despite their efforts, one drone broke through near the barn. Cole dashed forward, dodging laser fire and using his revolver to target the machine's weak points. Sparks flew as it collapsed in a heap. Lyra joined him quickly. "This is just the beginning," she said, scanning the remaining drones. "They know the ranch is protected. They'll escalate." Night fell, and the plains were eerily quiet. Cole and Lyra checked the outer fences, making repairs and strengthening energy shields. Herd creatures gathered near them, sensing the danger and responding to Lyra's commands. The partnership between human skill and alien technology was seamless, each compensating for the other's limits. Hours later, after confirming that the immediate threat was contained, they descended into the underground chamber again. Lyra moved toward the central console, tapping patterns that pulsed brighter as the energy in the room increased. "This system responds to action," she explained. "It adapts to threats, but it won't activate fully unless both the Keeper and the Protector are present." "That's why I need you here, Cole." Cole frowned. "Me? Why?" "You were chosen when you stayed," Lyra said softly. "Your instincts, your courage, they matter. This ranch doesn't just belong to me, it's ours to protect together." Cole felt the weight of her words. He wasn't just a cowboy who won a ranch in a poker game. He was a guardian, whether he wanted it or not. Suddenly, the machines around them whirred louder, and a holographic map of the ranch appeared in midair. Red indicators flashed at multiple points above the land, the intruders' locations. Lyra adjusted a dial and the system sent pulses of energy toward the markers. Some drones fell, others were pushed back. "It's working," Cole said, a hint of amazement in his voice. "We can fight them off." "Yes," Lyra said, her eyes fixed on the map, "but only if we act fast." They spent the next few hours coordinating defenses, sending herd creatures to strategic points, reinforcing fences, and using the underground machinery to control energy flow above the land. The corporate forces arrived at the barn, expecting an easy takeover. Instead, they faced unexpected resistance. Herd beasts charged under Cole's direction, trampling vehicles. Energy fences activated unpredictably, sending arcs of blue light across the open plains. Cole and Lyra fought from the shadows, moving quickly, anticipating the attackers' moves. At one point, Lyra activated a device that released a pulse, causing all the drones in the area to fall lifeless. Cole shook his head in disbelief. "I didn't know the ranch could do that." "It can," Lyra said, "but only when used wisely. The Guardians built it for protection, not destruction." As dawn approached, the last of the intruders fled, leaving behind their vehicles and weapons. The plains were quiet again, save for the herd creatures and the hum of the energy fences. Cole and Lyra surveyed the land from a ridge. Both were exhausted but exhilarated. "You did well," Lyra said, breaking the silence. "You too," Cole replied. "I didn't know half of what was under this ranch, but I'm starting to understand. It's bigger than anything I've ever protected." Lyra smiled faintly. "And now you're part of it. The ranch, the creatures, the system, it's ours to guard, together." Cole looked out over the plains. The rising suns cast long shadows over the land, revealing the beauty and vastness of what they were protecting. He felt a sense of belonging he hadn't felt in years. The ranch wasn't just property, it was purpose. For the first time, Cole realized that the girl who refused to leave was more than a companion. She was a partner, a teacher, and a guardian of a legacy that extended far beyond their own lives. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. "We rest now," she said. "Tomorrow we prepare for the next attack. Argus won't give up easily." Cole nodded. He had learned something vital. Victory wasn't about fighting alone. It was about trust, cooperation, and knowing what was worth defending. As they descended into the barn to check the underground systems once more, Cole felt a quiet determination settle over him. The land above was alive, the structures below were ancient, and the partnership he had formed with Lyra was unbreakable. Whatever came next, they would face it together. Beneath the barn, the machines pulsed with energy, humming like a heartbeat. The Guardians had waited centuries for keepers, and now they had found them. Cole and Lyra stood together, ready to meet whatever challenges lay ahead. And for the first time, Cole understood that the ranch, the girl, and the land were not just stakes in a game. They were a responsibility that demanded courage, patience, and heart. The plains stretched endlessly beyond them, and in that quiet moment before the next storm, Cole knew one thing for certain. He had finally found a place he belonged, and a purpose worth fighting for. The sun barely rose over Ardent Ridge, casting a pale glow across the plains. When Cole and Lyra heard the distant rumble, it wasn't wind and it wasn't the herd. The ground beneath them vibrated with a force that carried through their boots, through the fences, and into the bones of the land itself. "They've brought reinforcements," Lyra said, her voice calm but tense. She had her device in hand, scanning the skies and plains. "Argus isn't playing anymore. They want everything beneath the ranch, and they'll come with everything they have." Cole adjusted his hat, tightening his grip on his revolver. "Then we don't give it to them." Not now, not ever. The two made their way to the barn, checking the underground entrance one last time. The spiraling staircase led to the chamber that housed the ancient alien systems, the true heart of the ranch. Panels glowed softly, humming in response to Lyra's touch. Holographic maps of the land flickered in midair, showing energy flows, herd patterns, and hidden structures buried beneath the surface. "This system is alive," Lyra said quietly, as if speaking to it personally. "It responds to the land and the people who protect it. If we fail, it fails. And if it fails—" Her voice trailed off, and Cole understood without her finishing. Outside, the rumble grew louder. Vehicles appeared on the horizon, sleek and heavily armored. Drones hovered above, scanning, sending pulses of light across the plains. Cole and Lyra moved quickly, coordinating the defense. Cole used his cowboy ingenuity, positioning herd creatures to block paths and setting traps with fences and equipment. Lyra activated the alien systems, sending pulses of energy that disrupted sensors and redirected drones into traps. The first wave of attackers reached the outer fences. Cole fired his revolver with precision, targeting drones and small machines. Herd creatures charged, trampling vehicles and creating chaos. Lyra directed the energy flows, guiding electricity through the fences in a controlled pulse that disabled the attackers without harming the land. But Argus had brought more than machines. Soldiers advanced with advanced weapons, seeking to breach the barn and the underground chamber. Cole and Lyra moved inside, sealing entrances and preparing the systems for full activation. "It's time," Lyra said. "The Guardian system can't protect the ranch fully unless we both synchronize with it. I need you with me." Cole hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "I'm with you." They touched the central console together, their hands resting on the glowing panels. Energy flowed from the system into their bodies, a warm, vibrating force that connected them to the land, the herd, and the machinery below. Holographic projections expanded, showing Argus forces moving across the plains. The land itself seemed to respond, sending pulses through fences and activating hidden traps. Outside, attackers paused, confused. Vehicles stalled, drones fell from the sky, and energy pulses pushed soldiers back without harming them. The ranch was alive, defending itself. Cole and Lyra worked in perfect coordination, moving through the chamber, directing energy, and communicating silently through gestures and glances. The system's hum grew louder, filling the underground space like a heartbeat. Every pulse seemed to carry the weight of centuries, of guardians before them, of the land itself. Above, the attackers realized they had underestimated the ranch. Argus agents tried to regroup, but every step forward was met with resistance. Machines malfunctioned, vehicles were trapped, and herd creatures blocked roads. Cole rode out to intercept a small squad attempting to flank the barn. He moved like a shadow, fast and deliberate, disarming and disabling with minimal force. Lyra monitored energy flows, sending precise pulses to guide herd creatures and redirect machines. "They're adapting," she said, frowning. "We need full activation." Cole nodded. "Do it." Lyra pressed a sequence on the console, and the entire underground system lit up. Light and energy surged through the barn and into the plains. Holographic streams flowed outward, connecting every fence, every device, every herd creature. The ranch had awakened fully. The ground trembled, and a deep resonance echoed through the land. Argus soldiers froze as a barrier of energy rose around the ranch, shimmering like a wall of blue light. Drones attempting to fly through were repelled, crashing harmlessly into the plains. Vehicles tried to drive forward but were stopped by invisible forces. The herd creatures moved in synchronized patterns, guiding intruders away from sensitive areas. Cole and Lyra watched from the ridge, feeling the power beneath their feet. "It's incredible," Cole said. "I didn't know it could do all this." Lyra smiled faintly. "It was designed to protect, and it recognizes who is worthy to guide it. That's why it responded to both of us." The final push came when Argus' leader attempted to breach the barn. A massive vehicle charged forward, weapons blazing. Cole rode toward it, drawing the attacker's attention. Lyra directed energy through the system, sending a focused pulse that stopped the vehicle in its tracks. Sparks flew, and the machine shuddered before collapsing harmlessly. Realizing defeat, Argus forces retreated, leaving behind their equipment and empty vehicles. The ranch stood intact, undisturbed except for minor damage that Cole and Lyra would repair. The plains were quiet again, except for the soft hum of the fences and the herd creatures roaming freely. Cole dismounted, looking at the vast landscape. "We did it!" Lyra joined him, her face softening. "We did, and the ranch is safe, for now, but we can't let our guard down. Others will come drawn to its power." Cole nodded. "Then we'll be ready together." For the first time, they allowed themselves a small moment of relief. They walked through the barn, inspecting the underground chamber. Holographic displays flickered and shifted, showing energy flows stabilizing across the plains. The Guardian system pulsed gently, like it was breathing, as if acknowledging its keepers. "You stayed," Lyra said softly, looking at Cole. "I stayed," he replied. "Not because I had to, but because I wanted to. This land, this place, it's worth protecting, and I'm not leaving." Lyra smiled. "And I stayed because I trust you. You're more than a cowboy, you're a protector." Cole glanced at her, realizing the depth of their partnership. It wasn't just about the ranch, or even the battle they had fought. It was about trust, respect, and the shared responsibility of guarding something larger than themselves. Outside, the herd creatures grazed peacefully. The plains stretched endlessly, bathed in the warm light of the rising suns. The energy fences hummed softly, a quiet reminder of the power they commanded and the protection they had established. Cole and Lyra stood together on the ridge, watching the land they had saved. The air was still, filled with the sounds of life returning to the plains. Birds called in the distance, windmill blades turned lazily, and the ranch itself seemed to breathe beneath their feet. "You know," Cole said quietly, "I never imagined winning a poker game would lead to this, to a place I belong and someone I can count on." Lyra chuckled softly. "Life has a way of surprising us. The ranch isn't just land, it's purpose. And so are we to each other and to the land we protect." Cole smiled, tipping his hat. "Then let's make sure this ranch stays safe, no matter who comes next." Lyra nodded. "We will, together." The twin suns climbed higher, illuminating the plains in a brilliant glow. Cole and Lyra mounted their rides, moving across the land, checking fences and guiding the herd. Every step was a statement, every movement a promise. They were no longer just a cowboy and a caretaker. They were guardians, bonded by trust, courage, and a shared destiny. Beneath the barn, the underground system pulsed gently, a silent heartbeat of energy and life. It had waited centuries for keepers who could understand it, and now it had found them. Cole and Lyra had proven themselves worthy, not through chance, but through courage, wisdom, and commitment. As night fell over Ardent Ridge, the ranch glowed faintly against the dark horizon. Lights shimmered across fences and machinery, signaling a living defense ready for any threat. Cole and Lyra sat outside the barn for a moment, watching the stars appear one by one. "You think this is the end?" Cole asked. Lyra shook her head. "No, it's just the beginning. But now we face the future together." Cole looked at the horizon, feeling a sense of peace he hadn't known for years. The land was safe. The guardianship was secure. And beside him, Lyra was steady and unyielding, a partner in every sense. For the first time, Cole understood what it meant to belong somewhere. Not just a place, but a purpose. Not just with someone, but with someone he could trust. The ranch had given him more than he could have imagined. A home, a responsibility, and a partnership that could face any challenge. And above all, it had given him the certainty that some gambles, even those made with cards and chance, could lead to destiny. The plains stretched endlessly before them, alive with light and energy. Cole and Lyra knew the future would bring new challenges, but they also knew one truth. Together, they could protect what mattered, and nothing could take it from them.